this interview is done a week and a couple of hours um, before after the Candlemass one-off exclusive show in the Rock Art Festival with Messiah Marcolin. And here we are. We have the man, Messiah Marcolin, on our computer screen now. How are you, brother?
Oh, brother Sakis, I'm good. That was some fantastic show with Candlemass at the Rock Art Festival, Greece. I want to thank, all the fans from all around the world who traveled. Was like here from 40 different countries. And, big thanks from the heart. And also all the Greek fans, who traveled all across Greece to come there. It was like, I don't know, 4,500 people, like crazy, and everyone was singing, and it was so much fun, singing, screaming, doom dancing, just the way it should be. So I'm very happy about it. And a big thank you.
You're welcome. We thank you, first of all, for accepting our invitation, but we will get to that because I have so many things to ask you. First of all, for the show itself. I guess if someone was not there, he should have seen the YouTube videos or that were already out there since the end of your show. How would you describe the feeling of being back on stage with Candlemass after almost 2 decades?
It felt like it was yesterday, It was 20 years, but it felt like yesterday. It was the same thing when we, did I quit, I was with Candlemass from 1987 till 1991. Then I quit the band the first time. And then we did a reunion again in 2002, and I quit again in 2006. So in total, I've been with them for 8 years. But those, I guess 12 years in between, it felt like, time hadn't passed, just when we start playing, it's just like, I don't know, it's magic. Some bands, they have that when they play together, there's something special that comes with it, And Candlemass always had that, even since the first gig back in 1987 in Jönköping in Sweden. It was our very first concert, and we start the show with Crystal Ball. And, all of a sudden, punk rockers and everyone starts jumping on the stage, getting crazy. There's something special about, when the five of us play together. So that's very cool. It's always been like that. It just works. I don't know how to describe it. It just works. It works really well,
Did you feel nervous?
On stage. Off stage is another thing.
Off stage, did you feel nervous or did the experience?
No, I don't get nervous. Of course, you get a little excited before the show, but you don't really, I don't get nervous. I'm more like excited, I want to kill. I don't want to kill, but I feel like I want to kill. You want to do the best. Then, of course, your body doesn't act the same way as 20 years ago. I fell on my ass. What are you gonna do? The balance is not the same. All I can do is like practice Tai Chi or something, and try to get a better balance.
Like Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, exactly. Not the panda though, but the kung fu, yes. More like, with me in Candlemass, it's like, the family Adams, if Uncle Fester goes away for 20 years and then he comes back and he's all weird. That's what it was like.
So your stage presence, as well as your voice, was incredible. Was it a result of a specific preparation for this show, or just the natural, how we would say, muscle memory of years of performing?
Oh, I would say, people would say to me, "Oh, good luck in Athens, good luck." I said, "No, there's no luck. It's hard work." I've been practicing singing for almost every day for 5 months. So it all comes down to determination and hard work, because you need that. Because when you fall on the stage, like I did, or some technical thing, you can't hear yourself or whatever, then you need the muscle memory, so you must be prepared. And also, I'm lazy. I don't sing all the time, I only sing when I have to. So, but I really got in shape for this one gig, 5 months, that's a lot of work. But, it was all worth it in the end because, the fans got a great show, and it was really fun. And I also want to say, I never said this is the only one show we're going to do. Leif said that. But I would tell all the promoters of the world, you know, get in contact with Candlemass manager, Mr. Ola Bang, and if and try to book Candlemass featuring Messiah Marcolin, because uh, I just think it's such a shame for all the Candlemass fans in the world not to be able to see the ones who couldn't be there. That's how I feel. I don't know how they feel. They're probably tired of me already, but I just think it would be great. If they can treat us as well, these promoters and the big festivals in Europe and all around the world, Japan, I don't know, everywhere. If they can treat us as well as Rock Hard Festival Greece did, I see no problem with playing any more shows. Because this is like, we're all getting old, and I'm the youngest, though, 57. But anyway, I'll always be the youngest. But anyway, what I'm saying is, that this I don't see a reason for it not to happen again. For me, it's kind of like the vintage Candlemass. People may see it differently, but since I was there from the very first concert and 4 years on, from 87 to 91, those were the dog years. Those were we played little shitty clubs, all over. And then we came to Greece in 89, and we were on the airport, and we saw France there. So we started looking around the plane. Hey, maybe there's some famous band on the plane or something. But it was the Candlemass fans. We had never experienced that. We were used to people not caring about us. Of course, we had great shows, playing for 400 people, 500 people, whatever. But when we came to Greece the first time, it was like Candlemania, and it's been like that ever since. First time, I think they even brought me euros. They're like, maybe you're hungry, Messiah, have some euros. I'm like, oh, thank you very much. Yeah.
And have you discussed this possibility with the other guys of Candlemas, or just with Ole about?
Really, no, because they went out and said no more shows and this and that, and but maybe they'll change their mind if we get some really good offers from around the world, treating us as well as Rock Hard Festival Greece did. Maybe they'll change their minds.
Yeah.
I would think, now is the time to book the big festivals of 2026, summer next summer. So, I think they should give it a try, even if it's just one or two. Who knows? At least it's something.
Mentioning the fans, I met many, many fans and read many, many comments, and they described the show as historic, as life-changing. Do you feel it holds the same significance for you personally, like an historic concert, something like that? How did you experience the whole thing from the crowd in Athens?
I felt it was, the way I felt I gave love to the audience, and the audience gave love back. That's how it works. I don't know if many people do what I do on stage, but some people, they go on stage and they're like, oh, look at me, I'm so beautiful, look at my cool clothes, and they're like all into being cool on stage or whatever. That's not what a heavy metal concert is about. It's about interaction. It's about interacting with the crowd. If you tell the crowd, clap your hands, they will clap their hands. If you say, hey, scream, hey, they're gonna scream. If you say sing along now, hey, they're gonna sing along. And that's what's fun. That's how I grew up. When I was 17, I saw so many shows. I saw Ozzy, of course, on the Speak of the Devil tour. I saw Merciful Fate on Don't Break the Oath tour. Always standing in the front row. I was watching all the masses. I saw Rob Halford with Judas Priest on Defenders of the Faith tour. Did I already say that? I don't remember. But I saw Manowar, Sign of the Hammer tour. I saw so many bands, all the greatest. And when you're in the front row, like the very front row, it's hard to be there. Like you're fighting, because there's always people pushing you and this and that. And at least it used to be. I don't know about nowadays. But maybe people are too busy with their phones to to care. But then back in the days, it was hard. But that's the thing, to interact with your audience, and that's what I do. And when you give out love, you get love back. And it was just, Athena is always in my heart, and I will, you know,
Yeah.
always be grateful. It was special.
This vibe you get from the crowd, as I was on the back side of the stage while you were performing, this vibe that you get from the crowd is something unbelievable, I would say. People who are not on stage cannot experience such a thing. It's something really, really unique. And when the crowd sings not only the lyrics but also the guitar melodies, this is something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Leif said, apart from
Well, thank you, by the way. Thank you. Evcharisto, thank you.
you're more than welcome. I mean, I don't know if you know how this whole thing started. It started as a kind of an inside joke while I was discussing with Michael
Yeah.
about what we're gonna do in our festival, and I said that I don't wanna do a festival like all the others. I wanna do something special. And when he asked me what kind of special, I told him, let's say, bring Candlemass with Messiah special. I said, okay, let's do it. And that was the whole idea
Yeah.
behind it. Just a kind
Yeah.
of an inside joke, but it's a
Yeah.
not a joke, but a crazy idea. Let's say that popped up,
Yeah.
and
Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it.
I said that for the
But
next.
well done, I would say. Well done. Succeeded.
Yeah, yeah, and so Leif said that there will be no tours and there will be no recordings. Um,
Yeah.
um, did you discuss about recording the show? What happened in about a
You
possible?
know, we have the Candlemass who are on stage and who, we're brothers and we're just having so much fun. And then you have the business side of it. And, I'm all about nowadays signing contracts, having things in order. And, sometimes people have other ideas and they want to do it the other way around. First, you do something, then you sign the contract, whatever. It's just we didn't have time to make a professional recording of this. It could have been done if we had time to do the proper contracts for it and stuff. Yeah, deals. Yeah, signed contracts. Yeah, but there was no time for that. So,
And about the documentary, same thing.
about the what?
The documentary, that Candlemass.
Yeah, I'm not even involved in that. I don't even know what they're doing with that, actually. So I know I haven't signed anything, so who knows?
Yeah. It's not only Candlemas, though. It's also your solo career.
Yeah,
I We had done an interview, for example, with Michael Denner in 2017. He had
yeah.
agreed that an album had been recorded for what was supposed to be your first solo release with members of Merciful Fate. Can you confirm the project and share some more details for that?
Yeah, I can. Actually, the back in 2007, 18 years ago, me and Hank Sherman from Merciful Fate started writing songs together. And really cool songs. I love Merciful Fate. I was in their fan club when I was a teenager. I've been in two fan clubs, and one was Kiss Army. I'm a big Kiss fan, with the makeup and everything, since I was 10 years old. And the other fan club I was in was the Merciful Fate Coven. And that's how I got in contact with Ola Bang, Merciful Fate's manager, because there was some other, bullshit fan club around ripping the fans off, and I got mad about it. So I contacted Ola, and I said, "Hey, there's like this other fan club ripping the fans of their money. I got ripped off." So he took care of that, and then I had this contact, and I later used that contact to get Candlemass to support King Diamond on the Abigail tour. We got two concerts there, Gothenburg and Stockholm, I think. So, it's just, if you contact people and ask questions, it can happen. Of course, it helped that I sent, I think, Epicus to Ole, and King thought it was really good. And, why not have a Swedish support? Because there was a lot of Swedes already back in Kingdom back then, Mickey D and, some Andy, Laurel.
Yeah,
And
yeah. So,
so that was.
which are your plans for this album?
So, yeah, let me tell you. So we started writing songs, me and Hank, and that's been a slow process because he has other things to do with Merciful Fate and other projects, and he goes on tours and this and that with different bands and stuff. So it's been a very slow, process doing that, and but really good songs. And now a whole more than an album is recorded. My solo album, Messiah Marcolin, and it kind of started out as a band, but then I said, I'm getting too old for bands. Bands break up and this and that and all these arguments and stuff. It's time I try to be kind of a boss or something. So there's a leader of this my solo album anyway. So that's what happened, and hopefully Hank will play guitar on it. And then I also wrote some songs with Frederick Åkesson from Opeth. We wrote 2 songs together. And of course, I write my own songs too. So there's a mix of that. And also Sami Karppinen, who played with Opeth drums. No, Therion and Opeth. Yeah, he played with Opeth too. But mostly known for the work he did with Therion. He's an amazing drummer. So he has recorded all the drums for my solo album. And it's just mind blowing. I don't like click tracks. I think it sounds too stale. But he recorded this stuff live, and it's just amazing. Of course, it goes a little up and down in tempo. That's the albums I grew up with. The great albums didn't have click tracks back in the 70s and early 80s and mid 80s. That became later. The click tracks I think came around. I don't know. We started using in our Ancient Dreams, but Nightfall has no click track, so. Or Epicus definitely doesn't have click track because we didn't know what that was. So anyway, we also recorded the Candlemass White album like that without a click track. Then you get that Then you get that kind of it starts swing. The music swings. It starts coming to life. When everything is not super perfect, it becomes better somehow. I mean, you can make an album too perfect with click tracks and everything sounds like a machine. Hey, that's not what I want to do. So also Johan Niemann from Evergrey, bass player, good friend of mine, super bass player. So hopefully all these people will play out. But then you never know. Somebody might go, hey, I'm taking a 2-year vacation, or I can't do it, but there's always, I know a lot of good musicians. So the main thing, it's great songs. It's really heavy doom metal, and people are gonna like it. Then when I play live, of course I'll throw in a couple of Candlemass songs or Memento Mori, whatever people want to hear.
Yeah. Would you consider inviting some Candlemass members to your solo album, or would it be very obvious?
I don't think there's no point in that really. I mean, we've done so many albums together. When you go solo, you kind of want to, leave your parents at home and no, I'm kidding. But,
Yeah. I can understand how you say, because there's a need to work with other musicians other than the ones that you have created many great albums together.
Exactly. And of course, I mean, we had our little squabbles with Candlemass, but a lot of bands, if you look back, Deep Purple and all these bands, they all had that. And there's a tension. I don't know if it helps or if it destroys it, but we have a special chemistry. It's just like when we're on stage, everything's great. And when we try to do business, then it gets hard.
Yeah, because business involves money, and everything involving money.
It's not just the money. It's more about, maybe you have 2 strong leaders and they both want different things.
Yeah, it's difference of opinions. For example,
yeah,
I know for sure that one of the disagreements that you had in Candlemass was the front cover of the White Album.
Yeah,
You wanted to have something like a painting, like in Ancient Dreams and Nightfall, but other
Yeah,
people.
because we had two. Yeah, we had two more paintings we hadn't used. So I was going for that, and I said, let's do this, you know, to look like Nightfall and reminiscent. And Leif was like, no. And the band Leif had just broken the band up before that. So they were gonna, have some other singer. I think they tried Tony Martin from Black Sabbath and Johan Landquist. They tried even back then, and there was all these singers. And I said, and when I heard they were making an album, I contacted them and said, "Come on, guys, we can do an album. We should do an album." And then there was a big compromise. So I said, I want the original logo. Definitely. And Leif said, "No, we're not going to have a painting cover. We're going to have this white cover." And I was like, "Well, then we need to have the original logo." And then there's going to be a cross on it. And I'm like, I like crosses. That's fine. And so it was a compromise. And then Leif said, "Oh, you're not going to have your monk robe on the pictures. We're all going to wear black suits." And that started from when we were at the rhythm guitarist Mats Björkman Mappy's wedding. Uh, I was wearing, like I always do, a black suit. I wear it for weddings and for funerals. If I have a suit, it's going to be black. And actually, it was Jonas Åkerlund who saw that, and he thought it looked cool. And he told Leif that. So Leif's like, "Yeah, we're all going to wear black suits like you did at Mappy's wedding." So I was like, "Okay." Yeah. And then we took about 1,000 photos for that album. And, some pictures turned out great and they're on the album. But then we're going to do promotional photos for magazine covers. And Leif said, "Yeah, just take off your jacket now and you just have the white shirt and the tie." I said, "I'm not doing that. I'm not the push mode, and no, I'm going to wear my monk robe for the push. So, of course, there was a big argument about it. But I said, "No way. I'm not wearing that suit anymore, just for weddings and funerals.
And
Yeah.
I know that you are very active on social media. Uh, at least the last few months that I have been following, you uh, more closer, and you know that there were many people asking if you're gonna wear the monk suit.
Yeah.
And you were answering yourself, you putting me out of the awkward situation to answer things that I don't know, and I'm not responsible for that. Because if you didn't wear this monk thing on stage, then I'm pretty sure that someone must have brought his own thing and throw it on stage so that you can wear it. Because there couldn't be no.
No, it's just, you're gonna try to relax, go to bed or whatever, 3 in the morning like usual. And you're just on your phone and you see all these people with questions and this and that, and why not answer them? Who said you can't answer your fans? You're gonna be so happy. It's so easy to make someone happy. All you say is thank you, hello. I hear what you're saying, and let me answer you. People get so happy, fans get so happy. Why not make people happy? The music, the doom metal, the whole, it's very dark and doomy, and that's what makes me happy. There's so much energy in that music, and of course, Leif Edling, he wrote all these fantastic songs. And I would just want to say, when we were on the subject of me and Leif, and having different opinions about stuff, people don't realize that when we did, for example, the reunion days, and back then, it was before Leif, got a bit on the sick side, with the burnout and this. We used to party, and the last two guys at the bar was always me and Leif. So I would like, he was maybe a bit more out of it than I was, and I would be the one who took him to the hotel and made sure he got to his room and stuff. So it's not about not being friends. It's just about having different opinions. That's all it is. We're
Yeah.
still friends. We were rehearsing now before these shows. It was all cool. No disagreements, no nothing. And we even said, "Hey, let's not discuss any business during the rehearsals because we're here to rehearse." And that's what we did. So we even had a contract before this show, because I have an image with my monk robe and I need it to look, that it all should be look good together. And over these 20 years, especially Mappy, he started wearing a lot of black and white and stuff. And I said, it doesn't really work with the monk robe. It needs to look a bit more medieval, like doom, black, monk rock. So we had the contracts like that. And Lars, he was annoyed with me screaming during his guitar solos, and I wasn't even thinking about it. I'm just trying to get the crowd, And he told me, okay, we put in the contract no screaming during my guitar solos. Sounds like problem. So we made a kind of like a contract with before the show, and we followed that, and it all worked.
Yeah. How
Hopefully, there will be more contracts. Who knows?
yeah,
Yeah.
how you will perform the songs, you mean? What kind of things that you will do during your performance?
Yeah, it was about how we dress, and also about me not interrupting Lars when he's playing like guitar solos,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But it's good to, if everyone has rules, then you know what you're gonna follow. If there's no rules, then you can
Yeah.
interrupt things.
Yeah, yeah. I knew that
Yeah,
several
yeah,
things discussed, and I was happy to hear that the selection of the songs was kind of unanimous. Everybody, it was pretty easy to come up with the set list for the show. Um all the rehearsals went just fine, and we were all happy to hear that. And we also witnessed that on stage because there was
yeah,
that chemistry. But back to your solo album, does your
yeah.
forthcoming solo album follow a doom metal path, or should fans expect something different?
No, it's doom metal. It's definitely doom metal. But then I like to write with different songwriters. I write my own songs, but if I would write every song on this album, it would probably be, you know, kind of similar. You know what I mean? So I like to write with other writers too. Like when I write with Hank, it's doom metal, but Hank Sherman, that is doom metal, but it has this kind of, I mean, he's a riff master. So you get this merciful fate kind of vibe with doom metal, which is fantastic. And then when I, wrote those two songs with Frederick Åkesson, you get a more technical kind of thing. And together with my vocal melodies, with both Frederick Åkesson and with Hank Sherman, it becomes, you know, different, but still the same. So also we tune down. I tune down to B, which is five half notes down, B tuning. So that it's very heavy.
Mm.
I was experimenting a lot with this. I was going, I don't know how low can I go, before it starts not sounding good anymore. And for me, it was B, and it's also a perfect key for me to sing. With the Candlemass now, we tune in C sharp, so that's a bit higher, but it works for the Candlemass songs. But it's not, of course, it's not only interacting with the audience and stuff. You also need great shows. Sorry, you also need great songs when you're playing live. And of course, Leif wrote fantastic songs.
Mhm.
So, but I have a really good solo album coming up. I'm gonna do it all, myself, have it all finished, and then do a license deal with a record company or something. So I still own the rights and everything.
Yeah.
And it's just nice not to have to deal with record companies before it's finished. Then they can't say anything.
Yeah, you just present the final product. This is it.
Yeah,
Leave it.
this is it. And I think I'm going for vinyl size because people are into vinyls. Thank God people are still into vinyls. Otherwise, you would have no musicians anymore. I think it's almost the only thing that sells anymore. And people, I mean, vinyls have been strong since the 70s and it's still going strong. And so I'm thinking I have too many songs. I have to cut it down for vinyl size.
Mhm.
Pick the best ones. I mean, they're all good. Pick the ones that fit together and then leave the other 2, 3 songs for the next one or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Create just a solid album, a solid 40-minute album.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you consider a reunion like Halloween with two singers sharing the stage?
Are you talking about Candlemass?
Yeah.
Like me and Johan together? I don't think that's. I mean, they have their band. I'm not a member of Candlemass. They have their band. And Johan now, I met Johan. He's a great guy. And I met him. We had some signing thing at Mappy's restaurant for the fans. And then I met him at the rehearsal now when we were rehearsing and stuff. And he's a great guy. But they have their band, and they do that, and they've been doing it for 7 years now with Joel. And so I have really nothing to do with that because they do that all the time. They go all over the world and play. And, so this, when I step in with this Candlemass featuring Messiah Marcolin, it's just hey, look at this old stuff, the vintage Candlemass, you know. And now we did it once, and maybe that will be the final time. But I would like it to do it more. I thought it was really fun and great for the fans. So I guess it's up to Candlemass and the promoters if they want to book this, and also up to Candlemass if they want to do it anymore. Not up to me. I'm for it.
Your Doom dance has become iconic. Do you remember when you first started doing it on stage?
Yeah, I had actually saw Scott Not Ian from Anthrax. He had something, he said it was the war dance that he did on the song. And he was like stomping around. I said, that looks cool. Maybe I can do the Doom dance. So thank you, Scott Not Ian. Thank you. Thank you for inspiring me. I was at the front of so many tours. I met Dave Elfson at the Rock Hard Festival Greece. And I was like, I saw you guys on the Rust in Peace tour. And he's like, what, the first tour? I was like, sure. I was like crashing like crazy. It was super good. I went to a lot of gigs when I was, younger. And also with Anthrax, Among the Living, I saw that tour. Always in the front row, always headbanging, always, getting bloody. Always headbanging. Yeah.
What is the most unforgettable moment you experienced during your Candlemass years?
Well, this last show here in Athens is amazing. The love from the audience, and it was crazy good. It was so special because it had been such a long time, and people traveling all over the world and all over Greece. Very. But one time, I think the largest, if you talk size of crowd, we once played Wacken. I think it was in 2005. Yeah. And Nightwish was headlining, and this was the opening day. So it was only the biggest stage open. There was no other stages because in Wacken is usually like 7, 8 stages at least, and bands playing at the same time. This was the opening day, so they, usually the normal days it's like over 100,000 people every day. But this was the opening day, so it was like only 35,000. And we were playing, not right before Nightwish, but it was pretty good. And we had all these 35,000 people staring at us. And I remember the feeling of being able to get that big crowd moving and interact with such a huge crowd. And that was, I felt very special, to know that, hey, we can reach a lot of people too. So it was cool. But this latest show in Athens, oh my God.
So, Messiah, there are also some things from the past I would like to discuss about, like your collaboration with Abaddon on the Venom tribute, the song Countess Bathory. What do you remember from that experience?
Yeah, that was fun because I got a secret phone number back in 1987 when I joined Candlemass because pretty soon fans started calling me drunk. Hey, Miss Candlemass, blah, blah. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I got a secret phone number. So I always had that. I still do. And then I got this phone call. It was after Memento Mori, and I got this phone call, and it's like, it's Abaddon from Venom. And I'm like, no, it's not. And I hung up. And then he calls again. No, it's really me. And I was like, how do you get my number? He said it was through Black Mark, who released Memento Mori. And he said, I've been trying to get a hold of you for a couple of months, but nobody has your phone number. And so they were doing kind of a tribute album to themselves. And so it was fun. And I flew there to Newcastle. And I came there and I was thinking, okay, they got me now to do this song. We're going to do it extra heavy, extra slow, but they played it faster. John Connolly from Nuclear
Nuclear Assault.
Assault. He was playing guitar on it, and they did it fast. I said, whatever, let's just. So I did the vocals for it, and we had a fun partying. Actually, we went to this club, and it was funny. In England, they have these heavy metal discos back then. I don't remember what year it was. I'm bad with years, but they were all like a disco, and people were standing headbanging to metal in the disco. And after it closed or whatever, we were drinking. In Newcastle, you can't understand what anyone says there. They have a very thick dialect. But we were having fun. And the drunker you get, the more fun you have, and the more you understand each other. Anyway, so I was walking outside of the venue, and I saw Paul Diano coming out of the club, and I had a big double hamburger, and I was like looking at him, and he's like looking at me with the burger, and I was like, "Would you like a burger?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." So I gave him a burger, and then his whole band came out, started looking at me, and said, "I can't afford to feed you all." But I said, "Thank you very much, Paul, for the great, the Maiden albums. I love those albums, and of course, I love Bruce Dickinson too. I mean, it's just fantastic stuff. Legends."
Speaking about fast and slower music, I just remember what you had told me during the festival, before the festival, I mean, about the Candlemass songs, that about the speed of the Candlemass songs that you would like them to be played. Can you tell us this thing too? How you would like the songs to be played back then, and how they were played now?
Well, we did. I noticed that because I've been, like we discussed about the set list and stuff, that the main core of our set list was from the live album that we did in 1990 in Sweden, the Candlemass Fryshuset album from 1990, the Candlemass live album that I sing on. And that was what I was practicing to. And back then we were young, 87. I don't know, it was called 91, so I'm bad with math. Let's see. Doesn't matter. Anyway, we were young and we were playing faster back then. So when we started rehearsing now, it's like, hey, are you going to play all these songs so slow? Because when we did a reunion, I was always the guy saying, come on, it's doom metal. We got to play slower, slower. And they're all getting mad at me. But this time I was the one saying, hey, maybe we should pick up the tempo on some of these songs. So I think we did good, though. It was a good mix between super heavy and faster.
The last few months you appeared live with bands like Anvil and Lion's Share, as we saw in some clips on YouTube.
Yeah.
How did these opportunities come about?
Opportunities just happened. I met Anvil Lips and Rob Reiner from Anvil the first time. Because I always loved them, since I was a teenager. I've had Forged in Fire album, just playing it crazy on my vinyl player. And what happened was we played at Tradate Festival in Italy, and Dio was headlining the show, and it was the first show that summer, 2005. It was always like Candlemass playing and then Dio playing afterwards. So that's what happened there the first time. And then I met the Anvil guys, and they're like, hey, let's go to the hotel and party and this and that. And I ended up in, Lip's room. And he said, I'm just going to go for a walk, see if I can find something. And I didn't know what he mean. What do you mean find something? Then he came back and he's like, I got a huge box of red wine. It must be like, I don't know, it's like 12 bottles of red wine or something. It's crazy. And I was like, well, maybe that's not your slips to take. He's like, no, I found it. It's mine. So, but he said, I don't have a wine opener, and I don't have any glasses. So go to the reception, and find glasses and wine opener. So I went down to the reception, and there I met the whole band Dio. And Wendy Dio was there, who I was talking to when he was on stage playing. And I introduced myself and everything. And so then she introduced me to Ronnie, and I said, I'm with Anvil, and we got this huge box of red wine. And he's like, any good with red wine? I'm like, we're in Italy. Of course it's good. So, so I told him the problem. We don't have glasses. We don't have an opener. I said, we'll fix everything. Go to my assistant's room. The whole band, we're not sleeping tonight. We have an early flight, so there's no use to go to bed. Let's just party, drink wine, And we're sitting there waiting, me and Alvin. All of a sudden, Ronnie James Dio walks in, I think it was Craig Goldie, Rudy Sarso. I mean, it's just these, guys that I've been idolizing for since forever. And they're all down to earth, like cool people. Simon Wright, the drummer, it was just so much fun. And, me and Lips are like fanboys sitting on the bed drinking wine and asking, Dio all these questions. And I remember we were like, how was it with Rainbow? How was it with Black Sabbath and stuff? And he told us when Richie Blackmore was auditioning drummers, Cozy Powell walks in, and he said that you know Richie would just play a shuffle like dunga 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 dunga. Now all the drummers have to play along to this and do the best they can. And Cozy started doing this for about 10 minutes. Of course, he's playing great, so Richie's just going on. And then he just put down his sticks. It's like, what kind of bullshit song is this? If you don't have him your songs, I'm not even interested. And then Richie was like, that's the guy. That's the guy. Yeah, so we just got to be good friends, being friends with Ronnie James Dio. And then it was that whole summer we were playing before Dio, even at Sweden Rock. So I went to visit them after Dio had played their set. I got in there and I was like, hey, it's Messiah, let's open the red wine. And even Rockwave Festival in Greece, it was the same thing. So we became friends. He was a great guy, I miss him.
What do you remember from your time with Memento Mori? Would you ever consider kind of reviving that band or whatever?
You never know. You should never say never to anything, I think. Unless it's pop metal, then you should say no. No, I'm kidding. People like whatever they want. I know. I am just old school doomy guy. Whatever. But Mike Weed is always busy, of course, with King Diamond and with, he works a lot in the studio and stuff like that. But you should never say never. Maybe it could happen someday. We had offers to do. Actually, I did 3 albums with Memento Mori, Rhymes of Lunacy, Life, Death, Automotive Tales, and what's the last one? Songs? I don't even remember.
So
Volume 4 or something like that. I don't remember. Anyway, but I did 3 albums with Memento Mori and 3 gigs. One in Stockholm, one in Copenhagen, and one in London. That was what happened.
It's gig for an album. One gig for a...
Yeah, kind of. Not in that order, but that's what happened. So, I mean, Black Mark was Black Mark, and I don't know if their distribution was any good or not, but it was almost like the hardcore fans noticed the Memento Mori albums, but then the rest of the world didn't, kind of.
So. Yeah. How was your collaboration with Amon Amarth? I think it was the last time that you sang on an album, if I'm not wrong. The song
Could be, yeah. That could be. That was fun. I visited them in Stockholm for one of their shows, and they were like fans, and we were partying after the show and whatever. And they said, "Hey, we're gonna do a new album. Would you, fly to? We're gonna work with Andy Sneap." And I said, "I know Andy Sneap. They used to support us with Sabbath back in the 1988 when we were playing all the clubs around England. We had Sabbath for support." And so I know him. Sure, that'd be fun to visit him. And of course to sing a song with you guys. But of course I need to hear the song, and they sent me a really doomy heavy song called Hell. So, and then I figured, okay, he's singing his growling thing, but maybe I can do like a melody with his growl, and it worked. I actually sang the whole song, and they just picked whatever they wanted to. It's their album.
Yeah, they're really good fans of Candlemass. I know that Amon Amarth, if they didn't have this US tour that they are having right now, they would be in Athens for your show.
Okay.
Had that information.
Cool. Yeah. They're friends. Me and Johan Söderberg, we go drinking beer all the time. We don't even talk about music. We just talk about beers, IPAs.
IPAs, yeah.
Yeah, IPA nerds, the whole untapped thing. And oh, it tastes like old flowers, this one.
Um,
Yeah.
so do you follow the today's doom metal scene or generally the today's heavy metal scene? Do you
I
follow?
mean, when I hear something, there's this band, oh my God, Goat Snake. That's like the best album I've heard in 10 years. It's called Black Age Blues, I think, by Goatsnake. It's so heavy and it's so great and great vocals and everything. I recommend that to anyone. But of course, I always go back to my classics. My favorite album of all time is Trouble Psalm 9. I listen to that every month, at least twice. It's so good. All the first three albums by Trouble, Psalm 9, The Skull, and Run to the Light are just fantastic, fantastic albums.
Uh,
And yeah,
Looking back to the catalog of Candlemass, which album is your personal favorite and why?
well, for me, it's Nightfall. I really like Nightfall. I don't know how it happened, but the vocal sound on that one turned out really good. Also, the live album from 1990, I think, that we did at Fryshuset. That was because we didn't know that you can like cheat with live albums. So we practiced really hard and we recorded it live. So what you hear is what you get. It's not fake. I don't have a single, note on my vocals on that album that is not what I wasn't singing. Of course, there was some, maybe some guitar little thing that you need to fix or the bass or whatever, but there was not a lot at all. And we also filmed that show. I mean, it was on a DVD and stuff many years later, but yeah.
If you could go back in time, would you handle anything differently in your relationship with the band?
I have no regrets. I live by my stomach. I say not my stomach, but my stomach feel. If it feels good in my stomach, I'm going for it. If something starts feeling bad with my stomach feeling, then I say no, no more. So that's you know
What
the
kind
first time I quit Candlemass, it was they were saying you need to sing with less vibrato, and back then I only had one vibrato. I was singing full speed vibrato. But I liked what I was doing back then. So, of course, I got mad about it and I quit the band. And, the second time around, when we're going to do this, we had already started recording this King of the Grey albums with Andy Sneap, actually. And we started playing it again without the click tracks and stuff. And then we had played, I think my last show was in Porto Alegre in Brazil with Candlemass in 2005 or 2000, I think 2005. And I had taken a lot of time from work and stuff to be able to do this show. So I said, okay, I can't be on this next rehearsal, but I'll be on the next one because we were working on the songs for the album. And then they decided, I think it was Lars and Jan were quitting their work an hour earlier than me. And they said, let's rehearse earlier. And then they had tried this once. And then the next time they said to me, we're going to rehearse earlier because we don't want to wait an hour for you. And I was like, by the time I take the train and the bus, your rehearsal is going to be over. So I can't be there. And they're like, we don't care. And then I was like, well, then I don't care. We can't even rehearse together for the album. So I quit again, And I told them I was going to do it. And they said, yeah, do what you want. And I said, okay, we quit. Bye-bye. Yeah. Maybe not the most grown-up thing to do or with grown men, but it's like if you can't even rehearse together for an album, I'm not into that. So,
that,
yeah. But I have no regrets. I don't think you should regret anything. I think you should just be happy with being alive every day.
yeah, yeah.
Thank God that you're alive and healthy.
And give chances to people. I mean, I think that what we witnessed last Saturday should be witnessed by more people, if you ask me. Okay, that was great for Rock Art Festival Greece for the first edition of our festival, but I don't think we should keep it for ourselves. I think that if there is an opportunity, the right offer, whatever you want,
Yeah.
it should be seen by many people.
That's the cool thing with Candlemass. I mean, we didn't, hit the big time or whatever internationally, but Candlemass did break through internationally pretty fast. We were known in the hard, Kerrang and all these magazines that were back then. And so Candlemass, I would say, is known all around the world today. Not like a huge band. It's not like Iron Maiden or anything like that, but it's known among the fans who love heavy music as one of the creators of doom metal. And so I would love to do this for more fans. If Candlemass wants to, I'll do it too. If they give us like a great album, like a great offer. The promoters give us great festival. I think it's mostly going to be festivals because this is not a thing for clubs really to do this.
Yeah.
So if festivals want to book, Candlemass, they should contact Mr. Ole Bang, the Candlemass manager, and try to set it up.
Yeah, and you saw that over 600 people from 40 different countries. They came.
Yeah.
I met people from Venezuela, from Saudi Arabia, from Australia, from Chile, Mexico, Estonia.
Yeah. I'm
And
I'm so thankful. I'm very thankful, for this. And maybe they're thinking, "Oh my God, we better hurry," and they start fighting again, and we won't see it for another 20 years, and then I'll be 77.
and the other guys are older than you,
Yeah,
so I'll be
yeah.
80 plus.
They'll be 80, and I'll be 77. So no, I
And
think it would be a great time to start next summer if they want to. If they don't want to, that's fine too. I'll just continue with my solo album. But for the fans' sake, for the Candlemass fans' sakes, I mean, they've been doing it for 7 years with Joan now going around, and they still have their band. I'm not a member of their band. I'm more like, an old family member who comes to visit sometimes.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
he still weird? Yes, he is.
um, Before the end, the last question I always like to do is what piece of advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
Uh, eat less big portions. No, because that's how I lost weight now. I don't know, my left knee is bad, my back is bad, and my hip is bad. And when you get older, things start getting worse. You arthritis and all this stuff, and it hurts. So I was going to this physical therapist, and I pointed at my stomach and said, "What should I do about this?" And he said, "Just eat smaller portions." So I took his advice, and I used to eat, you know, I don't know, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, I used to eat like a 1 kilo portions of food. That's a lot of food. And he said, you don't need that much food. You just need to get full. And if you start eating smaller portions, you will lose weight. And that's what happened. I just started getting these lunch boxes and making them smaller and smaller and smaller. And now I'm down to like 400 milligrams instead of 1 kilo. So that's a difference.
Yeah, yeah.
So and
We
then I found this
saw that.
I saw this commercial on YouTube about, no, Facebook, Tai Chi, like do Tai Chi. And I started doing that. That helps too.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I'm going to fight the Kung Fu Panda when I get better.
and beat his ass.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time, Messiah. We are all thankful for that show, both to you and the Candlemas guys. That was quite a unique experience. I told you my opinion, my humble and honest opinion, before the show, after the show, now. Thank you for what you offered us.
And thank all the fans around the world, the Candlemass fans. I love you people. I mean, you're the best. It's just I hope I get the opportunity to sing with you again with Candlemass. And if I don't, then you just have to come and see my solo band.
Yeah.